Here are the fantasy follows, top 5 players to target on the waiver wire for week 11 of fantasy football. The top player to target this week is Jakobi Meyers, wide receiver for the New England Patriots, currently rostered in 48% of all leagues. Now in New England, no Julian Edelman, N'Keal Harry banged up. Jakobi Meyers has proven to be the guy that Cam Newton is looking to. 13 or more fantasy points each of the last 3 games, and 7 or more targets in each of those games. A decent run ahead for Meyers the next 4 games: Houston, Arizona, the LA Chargers, and the LA Rams. Houston allowing the 7th most fantasy points to the wide receiver spot. Arizona at 15, so right in the middle, and then the Chargers and the Rams 24 and 31, so a little bit lower down. But Meyers seeing the workload, a top player to target this week. The rest of the top 5 at number 2, it's Kalen Ballage from the LA Chargers. The running back currently rostered in 19% of all leagues. Ballage has seemed to take over a little bit of more of a lead role there in LA, with still no Austin Eckler, Justin Jackson hurt, and Joshua Kelly not impressing. The last 2 games, 68 yards and 69 yards rushing for Ballage, also getting some pass game usage. And he has a nice matchup this week playing the Jets, who are allowing the 7th most fantasy points to the running back spot. At number 3, Nyheim Hines, running back for the Indianapolis Colts, currently rostered in 41% of all leagues. An interesting situation here with the Colts, where rookie Jonathan Taylor has seemed to lose some favor there, and Hines, who was seeing his role as basically just a pass catcher out of the backfield, he's actually gotten a little more work as a runner as well. He's had 21 or more fantasy points 2 of the last 3 games, and a great run of games coming up for Hines. Green Bay, Tennessee, Houston, Las Vegas, the next 4. They are all allowing, in order, the 2nd, 8th, 3rd, and 4th most fantasy points to the running back spot. This makes Hines a great player to target this week. Number 4, Sammy Watkins, the wide receiver for Kansas City. He is rostered currently in 38% of all leagues. Watkins has missed plenty of time due to injury this year, but he is slated to return, and that makes him a favorable pickup simply due to his production possibilities alone. And number 5, tight end Logan Thomas from the Washington football team, currently rostered in 35% of all leagues. He has seen 6 targets each of the last 2 games and has had 60 or more receiving yards 2 of the last 3 games, and he's got a great matchup this week playing the Cincinnati Bengals, who are currently allowing the 2nd most fantasy points to the tight end spot. And a bunch of wide receivers as bonus adds this week, starting with Keelan Cole from Jacksonville. Cole currently rostered in 23% of all leagues. This last week, he saw 7 targets and a touchdown, 21.7 fantasy points. And without Laviska Shenault, has a chance to have some more work in that wide receiver core. A great run of games. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Minnesota, Tennessee, in order. The 9th, 5th, 2nd, and 4th most fantasy points allowed to the wide receiver spot. Michael Pittman Jr., the rookie for the Colts, currently rostered in 10% of all leagues. He saw 8 targets last week and 7 targets in week 9. He's been injured for much of the year. Looks like he's working his way back into that offense in Indianapolis. Josh Reynolds, the wide receiver for the LA Rams, currently rostered in 5% of all leagues. Now, I don't necessarily understand why playing the Seattle Seahawks that Josh Reynolds is seeing 8 or more targets while Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods are not having as big of games, but he did. A decent run of games for Reynolds: Tampa Bay, San Francisco, Arizona, New England, 23rd, 18th, 15th, 20th. So in the middle or possibly lower for that run, but yet Josh Reynolds is seeing work there in LA. And KJ Hamler, the rookie for the Broncos, currently rostered in 4% of all leagues. Another guy who's been injured for much of this year, but he has now seen 10 targets each of the last 2 weeks. Plenty of volume there. An okay run the next 2 games, Miami and New Orleans, 12th and 14th most fantasy points to the wide receiver spot. Then it's Kansas City and Carolina, down a little lower at 29 and 26. Be sure to join us this Sunday and every Sunday for the TFF Live Sunday pregame show, streaming live right here on our YouTube channel at 12 noon as we get you ready for your fantasy matchups each week, and we answer all of your fantasy football questions all show long. And here's the information for us. We are the Fantasy Follow. We're a brand new YouTube channel, so we appreciate you watching our videos. Be sure and click that subscribe button so that you can receive those notifications whenever we have new content. You can also find us on Twitter at the Fantasy Follow, and that's fantasy spelled FNTSY. And you can send us your fantasy football questions on Twitter during the week, and we will use those questions live on our Sunday pregame show. Facebook / the Fantasy Follow, and our website, thefantasyfollow.com.